The red dust storms of Mars Colony Station 7 had become background noise to Ethan Cross after 18 months of tending hydroponic gardens in humanity's newest frontier. He preferred the quiet solitude of the botanical labs where Earth plants struggled to adapt to artificial conditions. The work was meditative, peaceful, and kept him far from the complications that had driven him off-world. That peace shattered the morning he found the tiny alien girl hiding among his tomato vines. She couldn't have been more than 4 feet tall, with skin that shimmered like polished amethyst under the grow lights. Her oversized violet eyes tracked his every movement with frightening intelligence as she clutched a damaged datapad to her chest. The thin silver suit she wore was torn at the shoulder, revealing a nasty burn that oozed pale blue blood. Ethan froze, his water canister slipping from his fingers to clatter against the metal floor. The sound made her flinch, pressing herself deeper into the shadows between the plant rows. "It's okay," Ethan heard himself say, raising both hands slowly. "I won't hurt you." The tiny alien girl tilted her head, studying him with those remarkable eyes. When she spoke, her voice was like wind chimes, melodic and strange. "You speak truth. I sense no deception in your energy pattern." Her accent wrapped around the human words with difficulty, each syllable carefully formed. "I am Sienna of House Aurora. I require sanctuary." Ethan's mind raced through everything he knew about interstellar politics. The Valorians were a peaceful species, known for their telepathic abilities and advanced biotechnology. They had been humanity's allies for almost a decade. But why would one of them be hiding in his greenhouse, injured and alone? The Mars colony had strict protocols about undocumented alien arrivals. Harboring her could cost him everything. "How did you get here?" he asked, moving slowly toward his emergency medical kit mounted on the far wall. "The station has security scanners at every docking port." Sienna's violet eyes flickered with something that might have been fear. "I came on a cargo vessel. Hid in the botanical shipment 3 cycles ago." She winced as she shifted position, her hand pressing against the burn. "My family is dead. Killed by those who seek to restart the war between our peoples. I carry evidence of their conspiracy, but I cannot let them find me." 3 days ago, Ethan remembered the supply ship that had brought new seed stock from the Europa station. If she had been hiding in those crates, surviving on stolen water and whatever scraps she could find, the tiny alien girl was tougher than she looked. He retrieved the medical kit and knelt several feet away from her, not wanting to spook her further. "This might hurt," he warned, opening the kit to reveal various supplies. "I don't know Valorian biology well." Sienna pushed herself away from the vines, moving with surprising grace despite her injury. As she drew closer, Ethan noticed other details. Her hair was the color of midnight, flowing past her shoulders in waves that seemed to move with their own rhythm. Delicate markings traced patterns along her neck and arms, symbols that pulsed with faint bioluminescence. She was beautiful in a way that made his heart ache with something beyond physical attraction. "I can guide you," she said softly, settling herself on the floor before him. "Valorian physiology is similar enough to human. The burn needs cleansing and a bioseal to prevent infection." Ethan worked carefully under her instruction, cleaning the wound with antiseptic that made her gasp but not pull away. Her skin was warmer than he expected, almost feverish to the touch. As he applied the bioseal bandage, he felt her watching him with those penetrating violet eyes. "Why help me?" Sienna asked suddenly. "You risk much for a stranger." Ethan paused, considering the question. Why was he helping her? The smart thing would be to report her immediately to station security. Let the authorities handle whatever conspiracy she claimed to carry evidence of. But looking at this tiny alien girl, alone and injured and frightened despite her brave facade, he knew he couldn't do it. "Because it's the right thing to do," he said simply. "And because I believe you." Something shifted in Sienna's expression, a softening around those alien features. She reached out slowly, her small hand hovering near his face. "May I? I wish to understand you better." Ethan nodded, not entirely sure what he was agreeing to. When her fingers touched his temple, the world exploded into sensation. He felt her presence in his mind, gentle but overwhelming, like being immersed in warm water. Memories flickered past, emotions not his own, fear and grief and desperate hope. But beneath it all, he sensed her essential nature, the kindness and courage that defined who she was. When she pulled away, tears tracked down her violet cheeks, glistening like liquid starlight. You carry pain too. Loss. Betrayal by one you loved. You came here to escape, just as I fled my world. Ethan sat back, shaken by how thoroughly she had seen into his heart. His ex-fiancée's betrayal, the career he had abandoned, the loneliness he wore like armor. That's private, he said, but without real anger. Forgive me, Sienna said quickly. Telepathic contact reveals much. But know this, Ethan Cross. In all the minds I have touched across two worlds, yours shines with rare integrity. I am grateful the universe brought me to your garden. Over the next hours, Sienna told him everything. How she had discovered communications between radical factions on both human and Valorian worlds, planning a series of attacks designed to reignite old conflicts. How her family had been murdered when they tried to expose the conspiracy. How she had stolen the evidence and run, knowing that both species would hunt her if they learned what she carried. The datapad contains everything, she explained, clutching the damaged device. Communications, transfer records, names of those involved. But I cannot decrypt it alone. I need someone I can trust, someone who understands human systems. Ethan looked at the tiny alien girl who had crash-landed into his carefully constructed isolation. Every rational part of his brain screamed that he should refuse, turn her in, go back to his safe, quiet life among the tomato plants. But he had spent 18 months running from his own pain, hiding from meaningful connection. Looking into Sienna's violet eyes, he saw something worth taking a risk for. Okay, he said, surprised by the steadiness in his voice. I'll help you. But we need to be smart about this. The security rotations change in 6 hours. I can smuggle you to my quarters then. You'll be safe there while we work on decrypting that data. Relief washed across Sienna's features, so profound it made her glow brighter. Thank you, Ethan Cross. You have given me hope when I had none left. As the grow lights cycled through their programmed sunset, casting purple shadows across the greenhouse, Ethan realized his peaceful isolation had ended. The tiny alien girl hiding in his tomato vines had brought danger and conspiracy and the weight of two worlds' futures. But she had also brought something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Purpose. And as he watched her curl up among the plants, finally allowing exhaustion to claim her, he understood that some connections transcend species and circumstance. Sometimes the universe puts people in your path not despite the chaos they bring, but because of it. Because growth only happens when you're willing to let your safe, comfortable world be disrupted. Ethan smiled to himself as he settled in to keep watch over the sleeping Valorian. Whatever came next, whatever dangers they would face together, he knew one thing with absolute certainty. His life would never be the same again. And for the first time since coming to Mars, that didn't frighten him. It thrilled him. The next 3 weeks transformed Ethan's existence in ways he could never have imagined. Sienna lived in the hidden corners of his small quarters, a secret that weighed on him with every interaction with his colleagues. But the burden felt lighter each time he returned home to find the tiny alien girl waiting with that luminous smile that made his heart race in ways he didn't fully understand yet. Working together on decrypting the datapad became their shared ritual. Ethan would finish his shifts in the botanical labs and rush back to find Sienna surrounded by holographic displays, her violet eyes reflecting streams of code and communication logs. Her telepathic abilities allowed her to interface with technology in ways that amazed him, her mind becoming one with the digital landscape as she hunted for encryption keys. "You are staring again," Sienna observed one evening without looking up from her work. A playful smile tugged at her lips, those delicate features so expressive despite their alien architecture. Ethan felt heat rise to his cheeks. "Sorry. I'm just fascinated by how you do that. Humans need neural interfaces for that kind of direct connection." Sienna finally turned those remarkable violet eyes on him, and he felt that familiar flutter in his chest. Over the past weeks, she had grown more comfortable around him, more open. The frightened refugee had given way to someone vibrant and curious, constantly asking questions about human culture and Earth that he answered with growing enthusiasm. "Among my people, the mind and machine are not separate," she explained, floating over to sit beside him on the narrow bunk. Her proximity made the small room feel even smaller, charged with an energy that had been building between them since that first night in the greenhouse. We believe consciousness is simply another form of energy, capable of flowing through any compatible system. That's beautiful, Ethan said softly. On Earth, we tend to see everything as separate. Mind versus body. Organic versus mechanical. Human versus alien. Sienna's hand found his, her fingers intertwining with his own. The touch sent electricity through his nervous system. And what do you see when you look at me, Ethan Cross? Alien? Or something more? He turned to face her fully, studying the way the dim lights played across her amethyst skin, the gentle glow of the biomarkings that traced patterns along her throat. I see someone extraordinary. Someone brave and brilliant and beautiful. Someone who makes me feel alive in ways I forgot were possible. The tiny alien girl's eyes widened, and he felt that telltale pressure at the edges of his consciousness that meant she wanted to touch his mind. He had learned to recognize the sensation, had even begun to welcome it. With a small nod of permission, he opened himself to her telepathic presence. The connection was deeper this time, more intimate. He felt her emotions wash through him like waves. Gratitude and admiration, yes, but also something warmer, something that made his breath catch. Desire. Affection. The beginning edges of something that could become love if they let it. Sienna, he whispered, pulling back slightly from the mental contact. We need to be careful. Your people, my people, they wouldn't understand this. I know, she replied, but her hand tightened around his. Valorian culture forbids bonding between species. They say it dilutes our telepathic bloodlines, weakens future generations. And I have heard what some humans say about relationships with aliens. That it is unnatural. Wrong. Ethan felt anger flare at the thought of anyone judging what he felt for this remarkable being. Those people are fools. There's nothing unnatural about connection, about caring for someone who sees you clearly and chooses you anyway. Sienna leaned closer, her forehead coming to rest against his. The gesture was achingly tender, and he realized it must have significance in her culture. On Valora, this is how we show trust. Complete vulnerability. One could easily harm the other in this position, yet we choose openness instead. They stayed like that for a long moment, breathing together in the quiet of his quarters. Then Sienna pulled back, her expression shifting to something more serious. I finished the decryption tonight. The evidence is complete. I know who orchestrated the attacks on my family and who plans to destroy the peace between our worlds. The shift from intimate to tactical made Ethan's head spin, but he forced himself to focus. What did you find? Over the next hour, Sienna walked him through the conspiracy that had been uncovered. High-ranking officials on both worlds, extremists who believed that peace between humans and Valorians was a mistake. They had planned a series of false flag attacks designed to look like aggression from the other species, pushing both governments toward renewed conflict. Sienna's family had been diplomats working to strengthen the alliance, making them targets. This is bigger than we thought, Ethan said, running his hands through his hair. We can't just turn this over to station security. Some of these names, they're people with serious power. They could bury the evidence, bury us. There is one person we might trust, Sienna said quietly. Commander Helena Vance of the Earth Defense Fleet. She has spoken publicly against the warmongers. My father mentioned her with respect before he died. Ethan knew the name. Vance was stationed on the military vessel orbiting Mars, overseeing defense operations in the sector. Getting a message to her without alerting the conspirators would be nearly impossible. But it was their only chance. I'll need to use the station's long-range communications array, Ethan said, already planning. There's a maintenance window tomorrow night when it will be less monitored. If I can splice into the command channels for just a few minutes, I might be able to reach Vance directly. Sienna's violet eyes shimmered with unshed tears. This will expose us both. Once the message is sent, they will know I am here. They will know you helped me. Your life, everything you have built, it will be destroyed. Ethan reached out, cupping her delicate face in his hands. I stopped living the day I arrived on Mars. I was just existing, hiding from pain and disappointment. You changed that, Sienna. You gave me something worth fighting for, worth risking everything for. Not just peace between our worlds, but this. Us. Whatever this is becoming. The tiny alien girl moved then, closing the small distance between them. Her lips found his in a kiss that transcended species and culture and every boundary that said they shouldn't fit together. She tasted like starlight and possibility, and he felt her mind brush against his in perfect synchronization with the physical contact. Every barrier between them dissolved in that moment, two beings becoming one in ways that went far beyond the physical. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Sienna rested her head against his chest. In my culture, there is a bonding ritual. When two souls recognize each other as destined partners, it creates a permanent telepathic link, binding lives together across space and time. Once done, it cannot be undone. Ethan's heart hammered against his ribs. Are you saying what I think you're saying? She looked up at him, those violet eyes holding the weight of the universe. I am saying that whatever happens tomorrow, whatever dangers we face, I want you to know that my soul has chosen yours. If you would have me, if you would accept this tiny alien girl as your partner across all the days to come, I would perform the bonding ritual tonight. He should have been terrified. The rational part of his brain screamed about the insanity of bonding his life to someone he had known for mere weeks, an alien whose world he barely understood. But looking into Sienna's eyes, feeling the rightness of her presence in his mind and heart, Ethan knew there was only one answer he could give. Yes, he whispered. Bond with me, Sienna. Choose me as I choose you. What followed was unlike anything Ethan had experienced in his 28 years of life. Sienna's telepathic abilities opened fully, pulling him into a mental landscape that was both terrifying and beautiful. He felt her essence merge with his own, two separate streams becoming one river. Memories flowed between them, hers of violet skies and crystalline cities, his of blue oceans and forest paths. Pain and joy, fear and hope, every emotion that made them who they were became shared territory. The trial lasted 3 months, broadcast across both human and Valorian space. Ethan and Sienna testified about the conspiracy, their words backed by irrefutable evidence that exposed corruption at the highest levels of both governments. The proceedings were exhausting, but through it all, they remained connected, their bond allowing them to draw strength from each other even when physically separated. Public opinion was divided. Many celebrated them as heroes who had prevented another devastating war. Others condemned their relationship as an abomination, proof that interspecies contact led to moral decay. Ethan learned to ignore the hateful messages, focusing instead on the growing number of voices supporting them, people from both worlds who saw their love as hope for a better future. When the verdicts finally came down, convicting the conspirators and vindicating Sienna's family, the judge made an unexpected announcement. This court recognizes the legal bonding between Ethan Cross and Sienna of House Valora. Their union, while controversial, broke no laws of either species. May their courage inspire others to build bridges rather than walls. The words felt like vindication, but the real test came afterward. Offers poured in from research institutions, universities, and diplomatic corps wanting to study or employ the bonded pair. But Ethan and Sienna had already discussed what they wanted. I want to go back to Mars, Sienna said as they reviewed the offers in their temporary quarters on Earth. To the greenhouse where you found me. I want us to build something there, something that shows both our peoples how to grow together. Ethan loved her more in that moment than he thought possible. A botanical research station. We could develop hybrid crops that work in multiple environments, train humans and Valorians to work side by side. Show them that cooperation creates something better than either species could achieve alone. Her violet eyes sparkled with excitement. Yes. My people's biotechnology combined with human agricultural science. We could feed colonies across the system, bring life to dead worlds. Within 6 months, they had secured funding from a coalition of human and Valorian sponsors eager to support their vision. The tiny alien girl who had hidden in his tomato vines became his partner in every sense, working beside him to transform Mars Colony Station 7 into a center for interspecies cooperation. The work was hard but rewarding. They trained mixed teams of humans and Valorians, teaching both species to see beyond prejudice to the potential in collaboration. Sienna's telepathic abilities allowed for perfect communication between team members, while Ethan's understanding of human psychology helped smooth cultural tensions. But the most powerful statement came not from their work, but from their life together. The station's inhabitants watched as the bonded pair navigated their relationship with obvious love and respect. They saw Ethan carry Sienna when she was tired, saw her use her abilities to soothe his occasional anxiety. They witnessed arguments resolved with patience, celebrations shared with joy, and a commitment that transcended the physical differences between them. 1 year after their bonding, Sienna made an announcement that shocked both worlds. "I am carrying a child. A hybrid. Human and Valorian DNA merged into something entirely new." The news sent ripples through both societies. Many scientists had believed such a thing impossible, that the genetic differences were too vast. But Sienna's telepathic abilities had apparently allowed her biology to adapt, to merge with Ethan's in ways that created new possibilities.
You don't belong here.
What will they be like?
State your purpose.
Ethan asked one
Same
night,
as you.
his hand resting on Sienna's still flat stomach. "Our child." The tiny alien girl smiled, that luminous expression that never failed to steal his breath. "I do not know. Neither fully human nor Valorian. Perhaps something better. A bridge made flesh between our worlds." The pregnancy was closely monitored by medical teams from both species, each development studied and documented. When their daughter was finally born, with skin the color of twilight lavender and eyes that shifted between violet and blue, the entire system seemed to hold its breath. They named her Aurora, for the lights that danced in the skies of both Earth and Valora. She was small like her mother, with Sienna's delicate features, but she had Ethan's nose and the shape of his smile. And when she opened her mind for the first time, both parents felt the pure, untainted consciousness of new life. "She is perfect," Sienna whispered, tears of joy streaming down her face as she held their daughter. "Our little bridge between worlds."
You don't belong
Ethan gathered
here.
them
Neither
both
do
in his
you,
arms,
human.
his
State your
family,
purpose.
this
Survival.
impossible
Same as
beautiful
you.
family that existed because a frightened refugee had chosen his greenhouse to hide in, and he had chosen compassion over fear. "The universe brought you to me for a reason," he said, looking into his wife's violet eyes. "To show us both that love doesn't recognize borders or species. It just is." Over the following years, their botanical research station flourished. Aurora grew into a remarkable child, displaying abilities from both parents. She could interface with technology like her mother while possessing her father's intuition for living systems. More importantly, she became a symbol of what was possible when two species chose cooperation over conflict. Other bonded pairs began to emerge, inspired by Ethan and Sienna's example. Human-Valorian partnerships were no longer scandalous but celebrated, each one another thread in the growing tapestry connecting their worlds. The Mars colony expanded, becoming a true melting pot where children of multiple species played together in gardens that combined the best of human agriculture and Valorian
belong
biotechnology.
Neither do you,
On the
human.
evening of their
State your
10th
purpose.
anniversary,
Survival.
The same as
Ethan
you.
and Sienna stood in the greenhouse where it had all begun. The tomato vines had been replaced by hybrid plants that could never have existed without their collaboration. Species from two worlds that had learned to grow together. "Do you ever regret it?" Ethan asked, pulling his wife close. Even after a decade, he still marveled at how perfectly she fit against him, how their bond had only deepened with time. "Choosing me? A simple botanist who had given up on life?" Sienna turned in his arms, her violet eyes holding that same intensity they had shown that first night when she appeared at his door. "Regret? No, my love. You gave me sanctuary when I had nothing. You risked everything to help me expose the truth. You chose me when your entire world said it was wrong. How could I regret the best decision I ever made?" She reached up, touching his mind with that familiar telepathic caress that always made his heart sing. Through their bond, he felt her complete sincerity, her absolute certainty
You
that
don't
they were meant to
belong
find
here.
each
Neither
other
do
across
you,
the
human.
vastness of
State your
space.
purpose.
"I was
Survival.
hiding
Same
in
as
your
you.
tomato vines," she continued, a playful smile tugging at her lips. "A tiny alien girl who crashed into your peaceful existence and turned everything upside down. And you chose me anyway." Ethan laughed, the sound filled with genuine joy. "Best disruption of my life. I was just existing before you, going through motions, avoiding connection, playing it safe. You reminded me what it means to truly live. Aurora appeared in the greenhouse doorway then, now 10 years old and already showing signs of her mother's grace and her father's steady strength. Mom, Dad, the ceremony is starting. They're waiting for you. The ceremony was a celebration of the Peace Accord's 10th anniversary, and Ethan and Sienna had been asked to speak about their journey. As they walked through the station toward the gathering hall, hand in hand with their daughter between them, Ethan reflected on how profoundly his life had changed. That morning in the greenhouse, finding a frightened refugee among his plants, he never could have imagined this future. A wife who completed him in ways he hadn't known were possible. A daughter who embodied the best of two worlds. A purpose that gave his life meaning beyond simple survival. The hall was packed with humans and Valorians. Families from both species gathered to celebrate peace and possibility. When Ethan and Sienna took the stage, the applause was thunderous. 10 years ago, Ethan began, his voice carrying through the space. I found a tiny alien girl hiding in my greenhouse. She was injured, frightened, and alone. Helping her was the easiest decision I ever made, even though it upended my entire life. Sienna continued, her melodic voice wrapping around the words with emotion. Ethan showed me that species differences matter far less than the courage to choose connection over fear. Our bond, our family, exists as proof that bridges between worlds begin with individuals willing to take that first step. They spoke about the conspiracy they had exposed, the dangers they had faced, and the love that had sustained them through it all. They talked about Aurora and the other hybrid children being born, symbols of a future where humanity and Valorians were not separate species but partners in exploring the cosmos. We are not special, Ethan concluded, looking out at the diverse crowd. We simply chose to see past our differences to the possibilities beyond. Every person here can make that same choice, in big ways and small. That is how we build lasting peace, one connection at a time. As they left the stage to more applause, Sienna sent him a private thought through their bond. I love you, Ethan Cross. Thank you for finding me in your tomato vines. He squeezed her hand, smiling. I love you too. Thank you for choosing me, for binding your life to mine, for every moment of this impossible, beautiful journey. That night, after Aurora was asleep and the celebrations had ended, they returned to their quarters and made love with the same passion and tenderness that had marked their first union. Their bond sang between them, pleasure and emotion amplified by their telepathic connection. In those moments, species and origin didn't matter. There was only them, two souls that had recognized each other across the vastness of space and chosen to become one. Afterward, lying tangled together in the darkness, Ethan traced patterns on Sienna's amethyst skin. What do you think happens next? For us, for our worlds. The tiny alien girl smiled, her biomarkings glowing softly in the dim light. I think we continue growing together. More hybrid children will be born. More partnerships will form. Prejudice will fade as understanding grows. And one day, centuries from now, historians will look back and wonder why humans and Valorians ever saw themselves as separate species rather than complementary parts of one great cosmic family. That's a beautiful vision, Ethan murmured. It is our legacy, Sienna replied, her voice growing drowsy. Proof that when an alien stranger and a lonely human choose to bind their lives together, they can change the universe. Ethan held her as she drifted to sleep, feeling her presence warm and constant in his mind. He thought about that morning in the greenhouse, how close he had come to turning her in, to playing it safe and avoiding risk. How different everything would have been if he had chosen fear over compassion. But he hadn't. He had looked into those violet eyes and seen someone worth risking everything for. And she had looked back and seen the same. Two beings from different worlds who recognized in each other a kindred spirit, a partner, a home. The tiny alien girl had chosen him, and he had chosen her, and together they had built something beautiful. A family. A purpose. A bridge between worlds that would stand for generations. As sleep finally claimed him, Ethan's last thought was one of profound gratitude. For the conspiracy that drove Sienna to his greenhouse. For the courage to help her despite the risks. For every moment that led to this life, this love, this future they were creating together. The universe had brought them together for a reason, and they had answered its call. Now they would spend their lives showing both their species that some connections transcend biology and culture and all the boundaries that separate us.
You don't
Because
belong
love,
here.
Neither do
real
you,
love,
human.
doesn't
State your
ask where you
purpose.
come
Survival.
from.
The same as
It
you.
only asks if you're brave enough to choose it when it finds you. And they had been. They had chosen each other, and that choice had changed everything. The end.